Welcome back to the Derek Smith Spiel weekly sports update. This is May 6th through May 12th. Let's start in the UFC. A lot of big things happened in the UFC this week. First was the announcement that Robert Whittaker is set to face Reiner de Ridder on UFC Fight Night on July 26th. De Ridder is coming off a statement win against the formerly undefeated Bo Nickel and is looking on climbing his way up the rankings. A win against Robert Whittaker would make it possible to put him in line for a title shot. He is most likely 2 wins away from a title shot in the middleweight division. However, defeating the legend Robert Whittaker would skyrocket his worth and popularity. This would not make him the number one contender, but it would put him in line. It would just get him one step closer to a title fight. Like I said, he's most likely 2 wins away from a title fight. But on the other side of the coin, Whittaker is looking for a bounce-back win after being submitted by Khamzat Chimaev. A loss would lower Whittaker's stock substantially. If Whittaker, a veteran in the sport, you see this trend a lot in the UFC. A veteran who's I don't want to say Robert Whittaker is winding down, but a veteran who is winding down, they're not constantly they're not constantly fighting for a title, and they're seen as on their way down. A lot of times they will face these up-and-coming, young, and hungry fighters, and if they lose, it's like a step closer to retirement and going out the door for them. It's lining up to be a fight where it seems like de Ridder has nothing to lose and everything to prove. Meanwhile, Whittaker has everything to lose. It will be a very interesting fight to see how it plays out. De Ridder with a ton of momentum and, like I said, a lot to prove. Meanwhile, Whittaker, he has a lot to prove too. He wants to prove that he can still contend for the title, and he is one of those top guys. Another thing that happened is Vitor Belfort was inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame, or was announced that he is going to be inducted in the future. But either way, Vitor is going to make it to the Hall of Fame. He was a true pioneer for the sport of MMA. His career started in 1996 when he won his first heavyweight tournament, the very first one he entered, in fact, at the fresh age of 19. Vitor shied away from no one. He challenged both Anderson Silva and John Jones to fights. He lost both of those, but he holds notable wins over Vanderlei Silva, Randy Couture, Michael Bisping, Luke Rockhold, and Dan Henderson. He has faced and was willing to face the most respected and dangerous fighters of his time, and that truly made him the guy. When he was able to beat and contend against those legendary names, there is nothing but respect and fear for Vitor Belfort, and he deserves to be in the UFC Hall of Fame. By the end of his career, he held a record of 26-14 and was a heavyweight, light heavyweight, and pride champion. So a huge congratulations to Vitor Belfort. He earned his spot in the UFC Hall of Fame. Now let's take a look at what happened this weekend at UFC 315. Jasmine Jatavicius defeated Jessica Andrade by submission in round 1. After that, Natalia Silva defeated Alexa Grasso by unanimous decision, all judges scoring the contest 30-27, so a dominant decision win for Natalia Silva. Ayman Zahabi defeated Jose Aldo by unanimous decision, all judges scoring the contest 28-29. It was a very gritty and competitive fight, and it was unfortunate to see Jose Aldo lose that one. After the fight, Jose announced his retirement. Aldo was a 2-time UFC featherweight champion with 7 title defenses. This is Aldo's second retirement, but now at the age of 38, this will likely be his last. His direct quote was, "I don't think I have it anymore. I don't want to go into war all the time and go through all this. I just don't have it in my heart anymore. I think this is the last time you're going to see me. I can't do this anymore. It is very tough to see the career of a legend and a loved fighter like that end in defeat, but his career should be celebrated. Don't focus on the ending and his inability to walk away from a sport he loved. Focus on the legend he left behind, the legend of Jose Aldo. He had a very accomplished career and was really a legend in the UFC. But after that, Valentina Shevchenko retained her title by beating Manon Fiorot by unanimous decision, all judges scoring the fight 48-47. So another close fight, but Valentina able to stick it out and keep her belt. However, there's a new champion. Jack Della Maddalena upset Belal Muhammad to win the welterweight belt. Jack won by unanimous decision, 2 judges scoring the contest 47-48 and the other scoring it 46-49. Of course, all in favor for Jack. After the fight, Jack entertained contestant Islam Makhachev to avenge his fellow Australian's loss, Alexander Volkanovski. Jack is now on an 18-fight win streak. Jack is on top of the world right now. 18-fight win streak. He's confident enough to challenge the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC right now, Islam Makhachev. He is clicking on all cylinders. Very fun to watch. Keep your eyes open and stay tuned to any announcement of a future fight for Jack, because a super fight between him and Islam Makhachev would be spectacular. But that's all for the UFC. Moving on to the MLB, let's start with the Yankees. Austin Wells earned himself a burrito food option at Yankee Stadium, inspired by his burrito reviews on Instagram. The Wells Favorito was picked by Austin Wells himself. He taste tested 3 burritos that vendors at the stadium gave him, and he picked his favorite one. His favorite one being more of a breakfast burrito. There was egg, bacon, and maple syrup. He thought the maple syrup added a nice sweet touch to it. But Austin Wells, the burrito man. Another young Yankee, Jason the Martian Dominguez, became the youngest Yankee to have a 3-home run game, replacing the former leader, Joe DiMaggio. Jason Dominguez is obviously in great company. Anytime your name is mentioned with someone like Joe DiMaggio, you know you're doing something right. Congratulations to the Martian. Now let's look at another player who I've probably talked about every week now, but I just can't wrap my head around how dominant he has been just when you look at the numbers. I'm talking about Aaron Judge. As of Monday, he was hitting a batting average of .423, an on-base percentage of .520, and a slugging percentage of .777 on this season. Those are video game numbers, and that's for a whole month. That's not just a week span. That's not like, oh, this player of the week batted .423, .520, .777 this week. That's been him this whole MLB season. It's phenomenal. It is unbelievable when you look at that. You would never expect a player to be that productive for any time over a week, realistically. Judge is leading the MLB in batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, hits, wins above replacement, and right now he is also leading the MLB in home runs. Last time I checked, he's first in RBIs as well. He's leading in almost every major hitting category. If really other than stolen bases, he's leading in every category, not counting the fielding ones. But he hasn't just been unbelievable this year. This isn't just an unheard of month, even though it is. This is a historic month. But when you look at the big picture of what Aaron Judge has done with his career, he's had 62 home run season and multiple 50-plus home run seasons. And still, every year he reaches a new level of dominance. After how last year ended for the Yankees and Aaron Judge, no one would have guessed that Judge would propel himself to another level of hitting. You maybe expected the same thing. I think most people expected a step back, especially after how the postseason ended. But it was unthinkable to think that he would be even better than last year, and that's exactly what he was doing. I would go as far to say if he sustained a career-ending injury right now, he should still be a Hall of Famer. Aaron Judge is a phenomenal player and a force, probably the best hitter of all time. When you look at these numbers, absolutely insane. So no matter how you feel about the Yankees, you have to acknowledge that Aaron Judge, what he's doing is jaw-dropping. Now going from the Yankees to their rivals, the Boston Red Sox. Rafael Devers is refusing to play first base for the Red Sox after Tristan Casas' injury. Devers said that the team told him to put down the glove and focus on hitting in the offseason. He did so, and now following an injury to one of his teammates, they are asking him to go back onto the field and play first base. He feels that this is unfair for the team to ask him after they told him to only focus on hitting all offseason. The Red Sox owner, John Henry, actually flew out to Kansas City to meet with Devers and have a discussion. Rafael Devers is in a 10-year, $313.5 million contract and is a leader on the Red Sox team, but right now he is completely toxic. First, he argued about having to move from third base. Then he argued about moving from DH to first. As a result, obviously, the owner had to make a statement. He not only flew out to talk to Devers, but he also said that the team values players who will do anything for their team to win, no matter where they play, and they give props to players who stepped up to play first base when Devers didn't. To that, Devers went a step further. He said that the organization isn't staying true to their identity because they are not forcing him to play first base. So it is a clear issue with the organization and Rafael Devers right now. No matter how good of a player he is completely toxic. It's hard to not consider trading or cutting him. Obviously, with a contract that big, you can't just cut someone or else you'd have a serious amount of dead cap. But when a star player is that vocal about not wanting to be there, and you've already invested so much in him to make him the face of the franchise, and he's making it clear he doesn't want to be, it is beyond frustrating. And what Rafael Devers is doing is immature. This is like something a 10-year-old on a Little League team would be complaining about. I always play shortstop, Dad. You can't move me. Give me a break. On to a more serious note. Chet Lemon passed away in his sleep Thursday night at his home after 70 years of life. Chet Lemon was obviously best known for baseball, but he also was known for his warm personality. He still holds the MLB American League record for most putouts by an outfielder in a season with 512. In his career, Chet hit .273 with 215 home runs, 884 RBIs, and 973 runs. Chet also was on the Tigers' World Series winning team in 1984. Chet suffered from a rare blood disease that left him unable to talk and very difficult for him to move. But even with that, members of the 1984 Tigers team, when they were reunited last summer to celebrate their win that happened 40 years ago, everyone on the team said it was just great to meet up with Chet again. Just a great stand-up guy. His life and his career should be celebrated. Now onto the NFL. I'm going to keep this next point as unpolitical as possible. I'm not a politician. I am barely a sports analyst. But the bottom line is the Trump administration requests to make budget cuts to brain injury research. The specific organization is the Traumatic Brain Injury Organization, TBI. TBI costs about $8.25 million to run and maintain. The budget bill has not yet been decided by Congress. The budget bill has not yet been decided by Congress, but as of right now, the administration is making major cuts. According to Dr. Owen Perlman, a brain injury specialist and board member of the Brain Injury Association of America, he said budget cuts would roll back decades of progress. Right now, there is no immediate effect of the layoffs, but unfortunately, when the web pages and training cannot be updated, it will be youth and high school coaches that will be affected the most. In a 2018 survey, it was recorded that 12% of adult respondents had suffered a head injury from sports or in day-to-day life. The importance of researching brain and brain injuries cannot be underestimated or underappreciated. And again, you don't know. There's so many things with numbers and politics, with money, national spending. And Trump, if there's one thing he knows how to do, it's handling money. I am not going to make a political statement here, but it is unfortunate to see such a prevalent issue, especially in the NFL and NHL, kind of being thrown on the back burner right now. Research of the brain is vital. It's very important. Every human couldn't function without their brain, and maintaining brain health, especially for youth athletes, is extremely important. Hopefully this all gets sorted out. In Baltimore, Justin Tucker was released by the Ravens. Jim Harbaugh said that the assault cases had nothing to do with the release. It was strictly football. And I believe him. The Ravens picked up a rookie kicker in the 6th round of the draft, and Justin Tucker is coming off a career worst year last season. He is the most accurate kicker in football, despite finishing 31st in field goal percentage last year. As a coach, you must think that he is falling off, especially given the fact he's been in the NFL for 13 seasons, he being Justin Tucker. And now you have a promising young talent coming in to replace him. You also drafted him in the 6th round, which is very high for a kicker. Kickers usually go undrafted and are picked up in like free agency or signing. So it's only fair to the young kicker that you let him know he's going to come in and have a spot. And really, when you look at that, there's no need to keep Tucker. With all of that being said, the allegations against him definitely do not help the situation. But this was a football decision in Baltimore. In New Orleans, Derek Carr has officially announced his retirement. Carr has been battling shoulder issues for the past few weeks and has discovered degenerative damage in his rotator cuff. When he tried throwing a football, there was discomfort, and that made him decide that it was time to hang up the cleats. Looking back on Derek Carr's career, the first word that comes to my mind is underrated, to be honest. Overall, he had 41,245 passing yards and 257 touchdowns to 112 INTs. That is more than a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He also threw for 65% completion percentage and averaged 7.1 yards per completion and had a 92.8 passer rating. Derek Carr was really an overlooked quarterback his whole career. He did the best he could in Oakland and helped the Saints stay competitive when he was healthy. Another career, it's really the theme this week has been retirement and just athletes on their way out. It's important to remember that it's important to remember that you celebrate their career rather than get sad that it's over. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, they traded for wide receiver George Pickens. In return, the Steelers will get a third-round draft pick in 2026 and a 2027 fifth-round pick. The Cowboys were in desperate need for a wide receiver, too, and were going to take Terrio McMillan in the first round, but he was picked up by the Panthers before the Cowboys were on the board. George Pickens now gives the Cowboys a solid wide receiver, too, and that could take their offense to whole new levels. When all the defense had to do was double cover CeeDee Lamb, they didn't have to worry about the run game. It made the Cowboys offense very one-dimensional and easier to stop. Last year, George had 59 catches for 900 yards and 3 touchdowns. However, Pickens has a history of costly 15-yard penalties due to unnecessary emotional outbursts on the field. So Pickens comes with some baggage, but he will still, at the end of the day, he will help Dallas more than he will hurt them. This makes, when you look at how this trade affects Pittsburgh, it makes them much less attractive, for lack of a better words, for Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers already struggled on offense, and they were like bottom in the league in just about every stat. Now they lost a promising wide receiver, their wide receiver one, and haven't done much to improve their offense since last season, despite picking up DK Metcalf. But again, when you only have one wide receiver, one major threat, it becomes very easy for a defense to scheme a specific player out of the game. That's what you saw with the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb last year. Pickens was by far the most productive wide receiver at Pittsburgh during his 3 years with the team. Since 2023, Pickens has led the squad in receiving yards with 2,040, and second place goes to Pat Freiermuth with 961. That is just over a 1,000-yard gap between the production Pickens had and the wide receiver 2 at Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh is not left in a very good spot on offense. They are going to heavily rely on their run game, DK Metcalf, and their defense. But with that is the end of the weekly update from May 6th through May 12th. Thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by yours truly, Derek Smith, with help from the voice memos and Spotify Podcasters app. For more content like this, you can continue listening to the Derek Smith Spiel on Spotify, or you can listen on my YouTube channel at Derek Smith Stock 13. There you'll find my podcast and sports betting videos on top of that. If you're a fan of my sports betting videos, you can also see highlights of those on my TikTok account. You can find that by searching at SmithStock5 again on TikTok. Enjoy collecting cards? If so, check out my Collects account at Derek Smith Stock to get deals on quality cards. For updates on everything I mentioned, follow my Instagram account. You can find that by searching Derek Smith Stock 13 on Instagram. Not interested in sports? Then go to YouTube and watch Dylan Smith Outdoors YouTube channel. Search Dylan Smith Outdoors, where there are plenty of outdoor content videos, including hunting, catching, trail cam and tree stand setup, cooking, and plenty of laughs in between. Need your lawn sprayed? Whether it's weeds or insects, Greenwood Ecologics has you covered. If you need help making your lawn greener than your neighbors, call Greenwood Ecologics at 585-739-1610. I repeat, 585-739-1610. Finally, thank you for listening to this production of the Derek Smith Spiel. Every view or listener is appreciated. I'll catch you later.